Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Aging Senior Health. Have you ever had a relatively comfortable day with less joint pain, and then suddenly, after a certain meal, the pain flares up intensely the next day? That feeling of swelling and stiffness returning without a clear reason? In our previous video, we explored 10 wonderful foods that help fight the inflammation causing arthritis. But today, we're flipping the script. Are there specific foods that might be silently triggering those painful flare-ups? This is a rather complex and sensitive topic, because each person's body reacts very differently. However, based on scientific studies and clinical experience, there are several food groups often considered the top suspects. Today, we will analyze 7 common food groups that may trigger arthritis flare-ups in some people, and most importantly, what the science actually says about them. Let's learn together to make wiser choices for our meals. If you're interested in identifying factors that might be affecting your joint pain and want to manage them better, please click the like button for this video. It helps YouTube understand that this content is useful and recommend it to more people. Thank you for your support. I'm Alex Jordan. Before diving into the specific list, I need to emphasize something extremely important. There is no single blacklist of foods that is absolutely correct for everyone with arthritis. What causes problems for one person might be completely harmless to another. Factors like individual constitution, the type of arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, the sensitivity level of the immune system, and even the gut microbiome all play a role. However, the common thread among these food suspects is often their potential to promote inflammation, pro-inflammatory, in the body. As we know, inflammation is the #1 enemy in arthritis. When we eat foods that promote inflammation, it's like adding fuel to the smoldering fire in our joints. So, based on the available scientific evidence, which food groups are most noteworthy? Topping the list, unsurprisingly, are refined sugars and refined carbohydrates. I'm talking about sodas, candies, cookies, cakes, white bread, white rice, pasta made from white flour. What does the science say? When we consume these foods, our blood sugar spikes. The body responds by releasing insulin to manage it. Many large studies, such as the Nurses' Health Study, have shown that diets high in sugar and refined carbs significantly increase inflammatory markers in the blood, like C-reactive protein, CRP. Furthermore, this process also creates compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are highly inflammatory and linked to the destruction of joint cartilage. Simply put, sugar and refined white flour are direct fuel for the inflammatory fire. Next, group number 2 involves saturated fats and trans fats. Saturated fats are mainly found in fatty red meat, poultry skin, butter, fatty cheeses, palm oil, and coconut oil. Although the body needs some saturated fat, consuming too much can promote inflammation. Epidemiological studies suggest a link between high saturated fat intake and increased inflammation. However, the truly dangerous enemy is trans fats, also known as partially hydrogenated oils. They are often found in processed foods, commercially fried items, cookies, baked goods. The scientific evidence is very clear. Trans fats are a disaster for cardiovascular health and are extremely potent inflammatory agents. Fortunately, they are being phased out, but you still need to read food labels carefully. In other words, limit animal fats and absolutely avoid trans fats. Group number 3 is a bit more complex. Certain omega-6 rich vegetable oils, when consumed in excess. We talked about omega-3s in fatty fish being excellent anti-inflammatories. Omega-6 is also an essential fatty acid but the problem lies in the imbalance. Our modern diet contains far too much omega-6, from corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil found in most processed foods and restaurant meals, and far too little omega-3. Scientists believe that this excessively high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, possibly up to 20.1 instead of the ideal 1.1 to 4.1, creates a pro-inflammatory environment in the body. The body uses omega-6 to create inflammatory signaling molecules. Important note: not all omega-6s are bad, but the excess from these common refined oils is the issue. Prioritize olive oil, rich in omega-9, and increase your omega-3 intake. We're delving deeper into factors that can affect your joints daily. Knowledge is power. If you wish to continue receiving science-based analyses on senior health, please hit the subscribe button right now. We always strive to bring you the most updated and reliable information. At number 4 are processed meats and excessive red meat consumption. Processed meats like sausages, bacon, ham, and deli meats often contain high amounts of salt, saturated fat, and preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These substances can increase inflammation. Additionally, high-temperature processing creates those inflammatory AGEs we mentioned earlier. As for red meat, beef, pork, lamb, although a good source of protein and iron, consuming it too frequently, especially fatty cuts, has also been linked to increased inflammatory markers in the body, according to some large observational studies. This might be due to the high saturated fat and heme iron content. Advice: minimize processed meats as much as possible. Enjoy red meat in moderation, prioritizing lean cuts, and replace it more often with fish, poultry, or plant-based protein sources. Group number 5 is controversial and only applies to certain individuals: gluten and casein. Gluten is the main protein in wheat, barley, and rye. Casein is the main protein in animal milk. What does the science say? For individuals with celiac disease, gluten intolerance, or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, consuming gluten definitely triggers a strong inflammatory response, which can worsen arthritis symptoms. Similarly, some people with allergies or sensitivities to milk protein, casein, may also experience inflammatory reactions when consuming milk and dairy products. However, for the majority of people without these sensitivities, there is no strong scientific evidence suggesting that completely eliminating gluten or dairy is necessary or beneficial for arthritis. Advice: if you suspect you might be sensitive to gluten or dairy, the best approach is to try an elimination diet for a few weeks under the guidance of a doctor or registered dietitian. Then monitor your symptoms. At number 6 is alcohol, when consumed excessively. Although small amounts of red wine are sometimes thought to have benefits due to antioxidants, the overall evidence is quite clear. Heavy alcohol consumption stresses the liver, weakens the immune system, and promotes systemic inflammation. Beer, in particular, contains purines, which can increase uric acid and trigger gout attacks, a form of arthritis. Alcohol, in general, can also negatively interact with arthritis medications. Advice: if you drink alcohol, do so in extreme moderation, no more than 1 drink per day for women, 2 for men, or preferably avoid it altogether, especially if you have joint pain or gout. And finally, group number 7, also a controversial group that only affects a very small percentage of highly sensitive individuals: nightshade vegetables. This group includes tomatoes, potatoes, not sweet potatoes, bell peppers, eggplants, and spices like paprika and chili powder. The reason this group is suspected is because they contain a compound called solanine. Some people believe solanine can cause inflammation or joint pain in sensitive individuals. What does the science say? Currently, there is no solid scientific evidence proving that nightshade vegetables cause arthritis inflammation in the general population. In fact, tomatoes and bell peppers are rich in beneficial vitamin C and antioxidants. The Arthritis Foundation also states there is no scientific evidence to support eliminating this food group. Advice: unless you notice a clear and repeated link between eating a specific nightshade vegetable and your own arthritis flare-ups, there is no reason to eliminate this nutritious food group. So we've reviewed the 7 common food groups potentially linked to triggering arthritis flare-ups in some individuals. From sugar and bad fats, the omega-6, omega-3 imbalance, processed meats, to the more controversial gluten, casein, alcohol, and nightshades. I want to emphasize once again, food reactions are highly individual. The best way to determine which foods might be affecting you is to try keeping a food and symptom diary for a few weeks. Record what you eat and how your joints feel, though, next day. Gradually, you might recognize patterns specific to you. If you suspect a particular food, try eliminating it completely for 2 to 3 weeks and see if your symptoms improve. Then try reintroducing it and monitor your reaction. Always do this systematically and preferably with professional guidance. What about your experience? Have you noticed any foods that seem to worsen your joint pain? Or was there anything on today's list that surprised you? Please share your story and insights in the comments section below. This is how we learn from and support each other on the journey to managing arthritis. Thank you for spending your valuable time with Aging Senior Health. If you found this video provided useful information, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to receive the latest health knowledge for seniors from our channel. I'm Alex Jordan. I wish you wisdom in your food choices, attentive listening to your body, and healthier living every day. See you again.